We're ready?
Running.
All right, we're going to go ahead and call this City Council Park and Rec meeting joint workshop, Monday, June 24th at 3:30. Roll call.
Kirby Moyna. Ben Keel.
Tom Marslick.
Deb Belcher.
Wayne McCormick.
Michelle Otto.
Lloyd Johnson.
Sylvia Henry.
Wendy Manson.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody, for coming to the meeting today. I had sent you out some worksheets because we're just going to go through some short-term planning, park planning and long-term park planning. And what we're gonna do is I will write down the short-term and Wendy's gonna write down the long-term. And we'll start down on Kirby's end. And as he reads through his, if you have a similar one, just let us know and then we'll put a check mark behind it. That will kind of help us determining, we want to get like the top 3 to 5. For budgeting purposes, to be honest, 3 would probably be the best because that's quite a few, but if we get up to 4 or 5, that's fine too. I think more in the long-term planning, we would probably get the 4 or 5 that we would want to identify. Short-term, just for budgeting purposes, we would probably like to stick to 1 to 3. And if we're way off on what we want, if we don't get a consensus on some of those things, we're just going to have to prioritize by the end of the meeting today and figure out what exactly we want to do. Some of you may have to change your priorities and what you'd like to see. A reminder that this is just for big ticket items. We're not talking about maintenance of the parks. We're not talking about the maintenance of the keep up of the equipment in the park. That's on a regular schedule. Public Works has a form that they fill out that they evaluate all the equipment in all the parks and then repair accordingly. So it's just big ticket items that we need to know for budgeting. Does anybody have any questions before we start?
Is there a time frame that anybody use for short term?
Short term generally is
I
in
was
the next
going 2 to 3
5
years,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, it's typically 1 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Yep. I should have written that in the letter, thank you, Kirby, sorry about that, but yeah, 1 to 3. So, okay, so Kirby, do you want to start with short term?
The first one that I had was replace and upgrade Veterans Park.
Does anybody else have that one?
Me.
Any comments on that from anybody?
What are you thinking, Kirby?
It'd just be nice to get a new park down there, especially since it's just, I mean, it's right there in everyone's view when you drive through town.
New park equipment?
Yeah. I think they still have all the old rock stuff too for.
now we switch it out to wood
Is it
chips.
wood chips?
It's all wood chips.
Okay, anything else?
Well, yeah, I mean, I have more, but that was done on that one.
Okay. Okay, your number 2?
Just an upgrade to the park trail system.
Anybody else have that one?
Me.
That can be long term too, because there's a lot of trails yet to do.
Well, yeah,
So we can put
I
that on
actually have
long-term
that on
too.
long-term as
Okay.
well.
Where are we at on the trail
That's a
system?
big expense.
Well, we have,
We're not gonna worry about expense today, we'll just list the, for now.
where are we at on the
Yeah,
one
we
trip?
just want to get a list, so. So upgrade to park trail system, we had 2 of those.
We had like 3 or 4 of those.
And how many do we have on long term?
Well, it's an ongoing, so, yeah.
2, 3? Do you
I
have
did
one?
a short term.
Okay,
I have
so
long term.
3 up there if you,
And me.
yep. Okay, and another one, Kirby?
Just like installing the road that's going to be going through the regional park. I think it'd be a good start to have people seeing that the progress is going to be taking place, even if it's just like a gravel road.
That's not where the road's supposed to be though.
Okay, anybody else have that? Okay, any more?
More along the 3 to 4 years, but it would just kind of be that for the bottom half of the regional park where I think there was a basketball court and a playground down there. I think that was on the bottom half of it.
And I think soccer fields
The soccer
as well.
field is
Soccer
there.
fields are
Yeah.
there.
And they got
The
nets.
ball,
we gonna
the
do
basketball
that?
court, I think it got moved because. where
Yeah,
it
that's why I
was-
wanted
On
the
that
picture, because I
west
can't
side?
remember. I thought the basketball court and just the regular park were down on that bottom, that lower part, but
Remember that.
I just think those would be two good things to have on that side of town, just a nice park there and then the basketball court.
Going the other
Okay.
direction.
That's pretty much all I had for the short term.
I know.
Okay. Anybody else have the bottom half of regional park?
Well, I guess third, bottom third, not, I guess more to,
I have some of it, but I have some of it in long-term too,
yep. Yeah, that's fine. So.
I,
because the bottom third would also include the park shelter that we
yeah,
talked
that's what
about.
we as staff had talked about, the park shelter out there, because we could generate revenue off of that, because we could start renting that out.
Mhm.
So we all
it's kinda
talked about
sharing
that,
out.
We
so.
had talked about that in Park and Rec quite a while ago already. Probably 2 or 3 years ago. In fact, I believe Justin had drawn up a plan even for
I
the
think it's-
shelter.
Yeah, it's part of the plan.
Do we have an overall plan for the regional park, what it's supposed to look like in 20 years?
That's what
Yeah.
they were
That's what we
talking
were just
about.
talking about before.
That's the big cardboard
It's-
cutout. we
it's-
got.
it's-
But some of that has changed.
Okay.
So we really need to just get the new updated one, and I think I can get it from Justin.
Because on there was the big ticket one, was a dog park.
And that kind of came off.
Mhm.
But the basketball court also got moved because I think where it was sitting, once they did all the grading, they determined that it would be sitting like in wetland area, so they moved that basketball court. So I think there's a new updated one.
I think the basketball court is right behind Herzog's.
Mhm.
What
I
about the
believe so.
dog park?
I think that came
There was
off.
a lot of people that wanted that when we originally started
And they
that
still do.
region
But
park.
is the city gonna have liability insurance
Well, we gotta have liability insurance for everything else.
for a dog?
Well, I don't know.
I
about
know of a park where a dog got bit and had to have about 50 stitches in his head.
That's
that.
up to
That'd
the
be
owner
of
though.
the
That's the
dogs,
owner.
yeah.
That's all I had for short term.
How many people are interested in this? I know that we 3 staff members are. Anybody else?
And
Yeah.
Kirby.
Kirby?
No,
Weren't you Kirby? Didn't you say?
That's
Raise
in
your- raise
that's in
your
the
hands.
bottom part.
I'd be interested in that.
That's all part of that bottom
5,
third,
6, 7, okay, 8, 9. So
That's
nine
pretty
of
much
us.
I
everybody.
just have it phrased differently.
Okay,
That could
Okay.
also go on the long term too, so.
okay. So you want to do your long term, please?
It's kind of the middle section of the regional park.
So what's considered the middle section? Are you talking like the baseball fields are the top
No,
section? or-
yeah, I would wait for baseball and softball fields, I would say. I think that's more the, even farther out, because those are the big money items. It'd be nice to have everything else kind of paid out.
Well, they are and they're not. I mean, you can put in a ball field, you don't have to put lights on it.
Right, I just was
You put in
saying
a ball
that,
field and a fence and cut out the infield and make a baseball field, so it could be even kind of a short term also.
Mhm.
I
So it's
think
kind of a long, I mean, it's
Just,
a, yeah.
just putting them up without lights, yeah, short term, but I was including all of that with the lights, both fields, and then the big concession stand area.
So you'd say that
That's
would be
more
the,
of the
top.
kind of last thing.
But you
So wasn't
really
there gonna
wanna
be-
know where that ball field is gonna, the ball field's
Those haven't
be.
moved,
they're,
right?
they're there, they're graded in.
They're staying where they are.
They're graded in, they're ready, they're,
North of Herzog's.
But wasn't there gonna be 2 of them?
Yes.
Softball and
Yeah.
baseball.
One big one and one smaller one?
Yeah.
So the smaller one we could probably build.
you can do both of them, you just gotta cut the infields in, really.
Yeah, and then the fencing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But if you're gonna make the one for tournaments, the field's
Well,
gonna be,
in the big baseball field, you'd have to put fencing. If you're gonna use the other one as like Little League, you don't need a fence on it. You can cut the infield out and let them play.
Mhm.
so that would be an easy fix there for,
So what else did you approve?
Then it was the upper section of the regional park.
So does anybody else have number 2 or number 3?
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about fencing and lighting and stuff like that. I don't know where that all falls, because I haven't seen the picture.
It's kind of a bummer that we don't have that.
So really, I mean, quite a few people have, I mean, in all reality, then you have that also, because that's all kind of the same.
Yeah, I
It's all
just
three.
split it up
I had
into
it
3
before.
different sections so
Yeah.
that we can base it on when you have other
Mhm.
debt that comes off the city's plate that then you can,
Is
So
there
the 4 of us,
anything on
yeah.
the shared drive that could be printed off for the regional park anywhere? Do you know?
I don't know.
Is it in the comprehensive plan?
did they decide any more on that veterans
Memorial Wall,
memorial?
it's going up at the,
That's not us.
That,
No idea.
yeah, that's still in the plan, I guess. But I do not believe it will ever be out at the regional park.
no, I think they're gonna keep it up there.
an upgrade and the update to the old parks and maps trails, like because there's the map of all the trails in the parks. I think after you finish the regional park, it'd be nice to have new maps for where all the parks are and the trails that connect them all.
So like the
So-
bathrooms and concessions, where are they lying?
So really upgrade to the park and trail plan that we have then.
Yeah, like the bathrooms and the concession, where does that lie in there?
That would be in the,
In the park
in the
shelter.
first, in the first staff when you're doing the park
No,
shelter.
because there's a separate area for that, because there was bathrooms in the concessions up by the
There
baseball.
were 2 sets of bathrooms. You had a
Was
set of
there not
bathrooms
one?
up there, but then you also did down by the shelter, and that's so you could rent it out and
I looked
utilize
there
it.
today.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
And then I'd say after that, the last thing I had was an upgrade to the older parks in town. Just when you start getting into them being 30, 35 years old, and it'd be nice to start upgrading some.
When did we update the park and trail plan? That was just within the last few years, but
That's it?
Good job, Kirby, you covered most of them.
Yeah. So I looked at here for short term. I'd like to see some playground equipment going into the parks that don't have anything.
Yes.
I'd like to see that before we're replacing equipment in parks.
I
And-
agree with that.
And then my other short-term goal that I had is, and I think we could start it fairly soon, is I think some people don't know where all of our parks are, so maybe highlight 1 or 2 parks in a newsletter saying, hey, here's this park here, what it has, here's this park here, what it has, and just really quick, like a quarter of a page for the 2 parks, just something to kind of highlight it for some of the newer people.
Well, what might help there, Ben, is that the park
Yeah,
district was talking about having their monthly meetings and each at a park. They did this a few years ago when I first got on the council. And that would be a good thing when you get the people in that park area there.
Yep.
Should I tell you why we quit doing that? Because Evan Siljander raised a lot of trouble with us because we put on there that we were meeting in such and such a park unless it was rained out. And by doing that, he said we were breaking the open meeting law because we weren't specifying where we were going. And so by moving the meeting, it meant it was a special meeting. And so we quit doing it. Remember that, Sylvia?
Yep.
So then one or two of us would stay back here and a couple of them would go out to that park for a while and see if anybody had any questions. Nobody showed up, they came back here and we did our meeting. So that's why we quit doing it, because We were told we were breaking the law.
Because I thought that was a pretty good idea.
It was, that's why we were doing it. We did Pheasant Hills, we did that little park behind Hill Street, we
Yeah,
did Veterans Park, I mean, we did like 4 or 5 of them. And people came and we talked to them, and that's why we put that small park in at Pheasant Hills, because they said, you know, we just want something small. And that's why we did it, but we
And
quit
that's
because,
all we can put out there.
yeah, we didn't have any room, so we quit doing it because we were told we were violating the open meeting law, so.
The park that's out at Thorson Park is, in my opinion, a wasted park. You guys familiar with that one? The Orange Park, what's
Is
known as
that-
the Orange Park?
Is that the one that's back behind the pond, surrounded by the forest trees or whatever?
That's what's behind the pond, you can get to it,
Yeah.
Right, I'm just saying there's a pond that's over
the-
there, right?
to the east of it.
There's
Yep,
a,
yep.
Thorson's,
Yeah.
mm-hmm,
Wasn't there a walking path through there?
no,
well, there's
it's a
a,
backyard. I mean, because it's right on the cul, you have to go to the
there's
cul-de-sac
a
to get to it.
cul-de-sac that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always have, like, there's like 3 houses back there that always put up huge Christmas decorations.
Yep, and Halloween stuff too, they give out giant pixie sticks, anybody? But, it's not used, it's not utilized at all, so,
Yeah, I don't think.
And I think that's
people
where
have
some
any
were
little kids
highlighting
right in
them,
there.
you know, for the few
Mhm.
people that do read the
because it's a nice
newsletter.
park.
Yeah, I've been there before,
Mhm.
but just highlighting them just so that people are a little more aware of where their
Could we
parks
move
are.
it? I know it's a lot of work, but
No.
I don't know how you
Everything
move
gets
them.
bent up, you start
They're
cemented
cemented in,
in. Start pulling it up, everything is bent and
Yeah.
tweaked and.
they're cemented in, so once you start pulling them, you're gonna ruin it.
That's what I had for short term.
Okay, just 1 second. So how many people are in agreement with number 6?
I am.
Campground equipment.
I am.
Those mows in my
Okay,
shop.
raise your
Yeah.
hands, please.
I think everybody.
I mean,
Okay,
Forest Creek worked really hard trying to gather funds to do that, and it just, unless they could latch on to a 501c3, none of the companies wanted to contribute.
Can I say something on that? We invited him to the Park and Rec meeting and he never showed up, that person.
a couple times.
A couple of times, and we finally just took him off of the list.
okay, how
Who's
about
that,
the
Cindy?
highlight existing
I
park?
can't remember his name.
afterwards. I
Oh.
have to think of what his name is. I know.
He lives on Christoph, right?
Yeah,
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Okay,
his wife's name is Abby.
yeah.
Myers.
Myers.
Yeah, is it
Yeah,
Adam?
That's
Myers,
what it
Adam,
Adam.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the disc golf part, part of
I don't know that
the,
part.
up there in your area? Is that part of the?
It's in Whitetail Ridge.
For
Yeah.
the,
That's-
Well, Whitetail.
That's
across the
different
street.
development,
oh, that's
yes.
for Whitetail? Okay.
Yeah, different development, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, number 7, highlight existing parks in the newsletter. Raise your hand if you're,
I
anyway.
think that's a good
I
idea.
support that, yeah.
so,
I think
Oh,
everybody.
sorry.
9, okay. Okay. And now your long term.
And then Kirby kind of pretty well already took my long-term, fill in the parks and then work on connecting the trails, you know. Fill in, you know, like my park, you know, if you just get like one piece of equipment there now, just to kind of satisfy some need for now and then, you know, later on, come back and fill in the parks with more equipment. The park that Michelle mentioned, you know, Thorson, if we get maybe some more equipment in there, draw some people to it, and then work on just finishing connecting our walking trails.
Now, Ben, would a swing set be sufficient out there to start with?
Probably not, that's not a whole lot.
To start with one thing?
So I would say in the ages of 6 to 9, you probably have close to 30 kids that age in my development, 30 plus. So I mean, if you do one swing set, I would definitely have more than just a few swings there. I mean, some slides, you know, and I mean, I know that they're not cheap, but.
Even like Pheasant Hills, we put in that swing set, we can make it a little bit bigger. We also put in that climbing bar where they can hang and climb and stuff
Yep,
on, you know,
yep.
just for something for them to do.
How much did that one there cost?
That park was really pretty inexpensive, because we put in that did we put a merry-go-round in there too?
Yep, I think we
And
did.
it was pretty inexpensive, the whole park. I don't think it was even 20,000.
Really? Because I always thought all that stuff was a lot more money.
Yeah, no.
Every time I talk.
It is when you get really
I think,
elaborate.
I think Ben's could be a separate point. It could be Well, or add it to 5. You could say upgrade old parks and connect. And connect.
Yep.
That's kind of like the park trail system right there.
Because we're kind of like an island out there.
Yeah, we are.
Do we have that, how is the connection coming from Forest Creek over to Northridge? Isn't that past, that trail past?
That land is owned by somebody else,
Yes.
not our land.
So Sean was going to bring it from the existing trail that's through the woods, and then he was gonna bring it across,
The
which is
creek.
Brummer's
And
land.
we don't own the land, so.
And then he was going to bring it through 7th Street, which is not ours, that's, belongs to, Kent Raisler. So, once you get all this stuff settled with this Herzog property still, that, remember we did the annexation and stuff? We can't record that plat, remember Brummer's giving us that Greenway corridor?
Yeah.
We can't record that until all that land gets done with that plat, and now Amy, the state sent something back saying that's, I don't know what's going on with it, but, so it still isn't done, so we still can't record that plat. Once we record it, then we'll own that land through there, and we probably can bring the trail across, even if it's just gravel, or if we connect it to that trail, that road that's in there, and make that a walking trail for now.
But now they can walk that road from Aspen to Breckenridge.
Yeah.
We mow that, and they can get in the gate and walk.
But we can't finish anything until we have the land, because none of it belongs to us. That's why it ends in the woods where it does.
Yep.
Okay, short term?
Yeah, the only, I mean, short term was covered. The only thing I was wondering about, do we have money set aside already for redoing the restroom concession at Carver? You know, because I've been hearing about we're gonna build a, you know, concrete
So part of the
building.
capital improvement plan that was done previously included putting up a new concession stand with, was it with bathrooms? It doesn't say, it just says new concession stand for $50,000, and Wayne said,
Yeah, when
we
we,
aren't gonna be able to build a
No,
concession.
that bathrooms aren't on there, it's
Oh.
just 50,000 to put that up.
Oh,
And 50,000 isn't gonna do much anything, we'd end up with a shed like we got there.
so we could make that a short term and save for a couple of years.
Yep,
You, because you said if you wanted to do it, you wanted to put in the bathrooms inside.
build a concrete building.
Or one, we do
Oh,
one
like
handicap
a big bear.
accessible.
Concrete's probably the
Yep,
cheapest way to
put the
go.
bathrooms inside and concession stand, and you'd have water in there.
And make it bigger.
Yeah,
We have to have that concession stand bigger, like 25 by, I wrote it down.
Because this is one of our
25 by
highlight parks.
17 or something.
I mean, it gets
Carver
used,
Field.
so, and the public's using it, and people from other communities are using it.
right.
How many people, raise your hands, would, are in favor of this one? Can you count for me, Wendy, please?
All of them?
Okay. Okay,
And Kirby and Ben pretty much covered all my long-term already in the
Okay.
regional park.
well, that makes it easier, it honestly does. Then you're all kind of on the same page, so that's good. Did you have anything to
any
add?
guy has comfort,
Okay,
What?
but mine's all covered up there.
Mine is still pretty much.
okay, good, that's
Okay.
good.
The only difference I have, if we could put something out at Northridge, like a gazebo type deal,
Is that short term?
short term. Just because there's so much going on out, I mean, we have a lot of our stuff out there too, and there's nowhere for parents to sit, it's all open area.
Well, one of the things we talked about, Wade and I talked about taking that concession stand. Is it possible to move that, or would that fall apart?
No, not fall apart.
Okay,
I'd fall apart by the time we got it across the street, I think.
at Northridge?
Yeah. Because they get a lot of people out there with tennis, or not tennis, volleyball, and
How many are in favor of that? Raise your hands, please.
Where are we talking about?
I think it's all.
that's
of
Northridge.
them.
That's where we do
Northridge.
summer splash.
For summer splashes.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, are you?
Yeah, there should
I
be
guess,
something.
I guess I would support the gazebo.
Yeah, there should be something out there, whether it's a park shelter,
Well, we're talking about moving the skating rinks there, right?
right.
So we need some type of a facility,
Right.
warming house.
Yeah.
So So how many,
Well, it might be more than
let's
a
rethink
gazebo.
it, everybody raise your hands so I can see.
Which one, what?
Okay.
The gazebo.
So all 9.
Okay.
I mean, it could be a park shelter with doors that close, you know, so it's enclosed and closed.
Yeah, that
Yes.
fold up in the summertime and down in the winter.
Yeah, okay. Anything else, Michelle?
No, I think we've
One
covered.
other thing I had was a swing, like I had a complaint about out there in Rockbrook. You know, they have something for the kids to do, but there's nothing for the parents that are watching them to do, and they thought of a swing set for the parents while their kids are playing.
They've
But
got
then when I inquired about that, I think, did you say it was too small or something?
I had told you it
I don't know if
was
there's
too
enough
small.
room in
Yeah,
here.
you're
Right,
right.
so-
You need so much room when they're
But there-
swinging.
There was a picnic table out there, I think.
No,
There is.
yeah,
There
the
is.
picnic table really helped,
Yeah,
but they, you know, how about the other parks, they could probably use a swing while the kids are playing. The adults usually use a swing, you know.
I know Rockbrook, we did not put a swing out there because of exactly what,
Because of it's right on.
so we
the
said, no,
There
we have to have a
wasn't
fallout shelter.
Yeah,
And there's not
yeah,
enough, or
fallout.
fallout area, I should say, not shelter, but you have to have a fallout area, and there's not enough room in the park for a fallout area.
Oh, that's what I
That's
was
what
hoping.
So in the,
Okay,
so
okay.
when you put the swing up, it has to be that far out to both, like,
Yeah, people like to jump off it, so.
yeah. So we couldn't do it there.
I know Matt's not here, but they've talked about over in Pheasant. They don't have any slide or anything out there.
On where?
The Pheasant development,
Pleasant Hills.
Pheasant Hills.
There again, we'd have to look, I'm not sure how much room there is.
I don't think
Yeah.
there's enough room.
Because
for
some of that land there, we don't own. I mean, we own where we have the park equipment, but then it kind of wraps around and we don't own it. It's,
I thought we owned the whole thing all the way to the tracks, although it's wasteland.
it's all swamp,
Yeah.
except for where we've got the
That's what
equipment.
we should have never took for parklands.
It's-
We should
well-
have took some of the money.
Okay, here's the problem. It's upland in the front, and there's a ton of upland in the back. That's why we took the land, because there's a huge big part in the back. But you can't get to it until phase 5, which is sitting there as a field, develops. And once that develops, there's a lot of land back there, but you can't get to it. Except for there's one access that goes between someone's house, I think it is, but we don't access it through there. So that's why they took that land, was because there's upfront land and then there's land in the back. And they were also giving us more land up front with the next development, but that hasn't been developed, so we didn't get the land up front yet either. Because there was gonna be enough room to put a tennis court there, actually, but we don't have the land yet.
Yeah, 'cause I thought that they sold part of that parkland when that guy sold the remaining there behind the houses. And he
Not
should-
behind the houses, that's still, our park goes around there, but you can't get there without going on his property. But up front where we were promised the land hasn't been given to us yet.
But in other parks that we got more room, like Northridge, you know, you complain there, you got one thing there and got, what, 7 or 8 acres sitting there and mostly weeds. And you could put a swing set there. I know we're gonna put that ice rink there. That'll help in the wintertime, but
So I think maybe one of the things,
There's a swing
Where's the
set
swing
over
set?
Well, there's climbing stuff out there, there's gotta be swings out
There's
there.
volleyball courts out there.
Yeah, there's gotta be
Volleyball court.
swings
Yeah.
out there.
There's
I
something
just walked on
on.
the park this week.
Yeah.
I can't remember that one.
There's an Evo system, which was the big thing at that time, was because of the climbing.
Yeah,
And
a lot
there's
of
a,
climbing stuff.
so
Oh, there's
Lloyd,
a swing set out there
listening to
too.
you, I think
I
maybe
don't think it's recording.
everybody tell me what you
Sounds
think,
deep
but I
all-
think,
I think so.
I think maybe we should add a short term where we evaluate all the parks and
separately.
come up with kind of a plan for equipment in all of them. So a park equipment plan. Did we kind of have that up here?
We had it somewhere.
Yeah, it'd be nice to go through all the parks and look at it
Yeah.
and say which ones are most in need.
So we'll say,
Didn't we all do that?
we'll put these two together.
Yeah.
I think we're batting about 50% with equipment in about half the parks we have.
Well, there's nothing behind that Hill Street park out there.
Nothing at all back there.
They
There was
like it
never
like
intended
that,
to be
though.
anything.
They, yeah, they like
Yeah,
it that
they
way.
like it that way.
Yep. That's the whole, that's the
There was-
whole field.
There was never any equipment intended to go into that. That was just a green space.
That's what I've heard from people, far enough away from all the houses that they can just go out there and play whatever they want.
Yep,
We asked them if they wanted us to take the big rocks out of it, and they said, no, leave them in here, we climb on them. So.
yep, that used to be like home plate.
So I think we're gonna put these three together, 6, 10, and 11. Okay? Okay, anybody else had anything to add to this?
I do think though, that we need a big commercial refrigerator put in that concession stand for the pure fact that new one that's in there isn't gonna be big enough for Kirby and the
For
Carver.
right now, it's fine for everybody. Because they use coolers and stuff, don't you?
We bring.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Carvers use coolers
Yeah, we
and
do
stuff too.
Okay, okay,
Right now, it's good.
okay. I was just thinking ahead, you know.
But it's a lot bigger than if you put the two together there. It's about the same
Oh, yeah.
size as the two of them that were there. Holds quite a bit.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to the long term?
I think a lot of that stuff there will be long-term.
We need the lights repaired at Carver Field though.
Oh, yeah, I have that on here.
What's wrong with them?
What's wrong with them?
Well, sometimes they go out for no reason.
The first we heard of it.
So how come nobody's told us this?
I've never had a problem.
I was gonna say Carver's have never had a problem either, that I know.
We have the bulbs changed when they need bulbs. I mean,
Okay.
they're always taken care of.
We just replaced a pole out there or something, didn't we?
Yeah, the pole's
Yeah.
The
leaning.
pole.
The one pole was busted or it was
Think your
pretty
batteries
rotten. We
were
had that
I
replaced.
think it's something.
They all work.
I don't think the camera's working right.
It was doing that other meeting where.
But maybe
It's gonna run
we
down.
could a person change the balances and
But it's
put
plugged in now, it's
LED
doing the same thing.
lights in them?
How much money was that?
Well, I don't know.
You'd have to put up better lights than what you got there because LEDs don't fit in those big old holdings.
Isn't that
Because when
part,
they were all
That's
on,
part
they
of
lighted
the-
up pretty
Yeah,
good.
that's part of our grant.
That's part of the maintenance too.
Yeah.
That's not really something we need to add up here, that's just part
I
of
think
it.
it's
Okay.
pretty spendy with.
But
changing
if
lights.
people know that they're out, they gotta make sure that us
Yeah.
know or we know.
We don't know they're out, there's nothing we can do, we don't know about it. We check them every so often.
Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to, it looks like we really already have our priorities. I mean, how many would like to vote for this one? I would, I think that's a great idea that we evaluate all of
That's
this.
a good idea though.
Yeah, several of
Okay.
them.
Mayor Otto?
Yeah, I just went out and did them all this morning,
Okay.
so.
I don't know why I can't write when I stand up when it's this low.
Oh,
It's like
some
I can't
pens are
write.
like that though. You
No,
can't
it's me,
write.
it's not the pen, it's me. It's operator error. Okay, so these are our priorities right here. That's 5. If everybody's in agreement with that.
And some of them are easy. I mean, this one we
Because
can do.
here.
This one we can do right
This
away.
is,
Yeah.
this is gonna go with this too. This is gonna go with this one. So all of those are gonna be together.
Well, why don't you just include the whole works? You got 7, 6,
Well, some of those are gonna be pretty costly there.
well, we can include them.
These are all gonna be one. These are all gonna be this one.
We need some new pencil, some new markers. So yeah, they
Okay.
all fall together.
So would you like staff to,
This one we can start doing right away.
with the help of Wayne, we'll start putting some pricing together and for the budget purposes, and then it'll be brought to you when we budgeting time? Any comments on that, or any ideas, or?
I agree.
We are in the process of working on franchise fees, so we're gonna have some additional funding starting there January 1st.
Okay.
So, we're putting that into place on January 1st. All the companies are aware of it, and ready to go. So, we'll have
Last we
that.
heard from them, we're one of the few towns that doesn't do it.
Yep. And the way that it was started
Been working on this for 2 years.
being done by a former city clerk treasurer. The utility companies were in an uproar because not any other city did it the way that the former city clerk wanted to do it. So we're basically starting from scratch again. I mean, we have the resolution in, and we have the stuff published that need to be published, which is a plus for us because we can move a little faster. We initially thought about starting it this fall, and the utility companies asked us to wait until January 1st because they have to contact people and put things into place. And they were actually very happy that we were okay with that, starting January 1st. It's better for us too because it's starting at the fiscal year then. So we'll put these in place. We really should talk about the long term a little bit. This isn't working the greatest, but so it looks like, to be honest with you, we're looking at a regional park. And again,
Probably should just.
this can all go, these two can go together.
Yeah, be all three of these.
I will
Are these
tell you
good?
that as staff, we have really talked about starting with a shelter at the regional park because we will get people there then, and it looks like we're going to use it. We can generate revenue off of that when people rent it. And there is a need for that. There is a need for people to rent for graduations. Wendy's family, for instance, needed a bigger facility, so they went to Waverly. She said other people she knows go to that park shelter in Waverly, so there is a need for it in our community.
And they have a lake, of course, there, but it's like $160 to rent it, so, you know, we could charge to rent it and.
Have we had anybody looking at the pavilion over at Vets, renting that out? No?
We have people using it all the time.
I was gonna say, because it's been busy all
Right,
week,
they-
for the last couple weekends, it's
Yeah.
been pretty busy.
A couple people have reserved it,
Yeah.
so then we charge them the $25 to reserve it, but if they don't notify us, it.
Right, right, but yeah, it's been pretty busy over there.
Yeah, it is a lot, and we always, I mean, people, a lot of them like to do it outside, but then there's always the fear of rain, so if we built one somewhat similar to what like Waverly has, where you can pull the sides down,
Yeah.
it's nice, because if there's a breeze, you pull one side down, and you can sit in there and the rest of it's all open. If it's raining, you pull the side down and it's all open. They have a kitchen attached to it, so, you know, we don't need to spend $700,000-800,000, but if we spent, you know, put up something nice with a small kitchen on it, I think people would rent it.
And that one is used a lot. I know last night, I helped my husband with our pontoon, take it out, because he thought something was wrong with it, and they figured out there wasn't, so we had to go back and put it back in. But anyways, so that was my night last night. There was people there last night, and every time you go there, there's someone there. So, and I think when I first started here, everybody said, oh, the regional park, that's 25 years out. I don't think that's a good idea. I really don't. That could really be a highlight thing for your community. And the big thing with that, like I told the staff, you have a trail right there that connects that. And you can get grant money anytime you can show that a trail has a regional connection, you can get some major league grant money. In the city of Delano, I don't know if you've seen that trail that goes along County Line Road. I got the funding for that trail because it connected all these housing developments out to Lake Rebecca. It goes right to Lake Rebecca. I got the funding for the trail that goes on Elm Avenue past the high school because that connects to the Lake Rebecca Trail. So anytime you could show that connection, you can get, we got, that was $1 million project. We got $500,000 for the.
And I think you could get money, grant money to put a shelter, and then you put a playground out there, so that they have something to play on while they're out there. The soccer field is there. And if we do like just the small field, you know, and cut out the diamond or the infield area so they can at least play ball out there, even the Little League could play out there if they need more room then that way. I think you'd get people that rent it.
So how many of you are in favor of us focusing on that regional park?
Yeah, we gotta do something with that.
Yeah, I've kind of changed.
You're
my mind.
talking all in the, like the bottom section there of the regional park, where
Yeah,
they
getting
have a
started.
gazebo, park.
Okay, so that's what you would, so start
So I
with the
think,
bottom
by
section.
getting, that was on yours.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we should probably just move that over to the,
So like do
Right
the
here,
bottom
okay.
part of it. Get
that's why
started
I
on that.
asked how we divided it out, because I had that at like 4 years from now,
Yeah.
if you start putting in the bottom section and stuff.
So
Whereas
should-
everything else, I was looking at more 7 to 15 years, so.
So do you want to make this number one on your long term? Should we do that?
Long term or short term?
long-term, because I think we have enough on our short-term. So, well, do you want to do it though before 3 years? Because we said here 1 to 3,
Well,
correct?
if you put the shelter up, I mean, I think you have to put a playground up there pretty quickly after that.
So it probably would have to be long-term then, because we probably wouldn't have the funding within 3 years.
Yeah.
So that probably should come to this.
Okay.
But didn't you just say we could get a grant easier that way?
We could look into it, yeah.
Bottom third.
If you just want to put behind it, like, park shelter.
Slash
Playground.
bathrooms. You know, everything, everything all in one.
And you're gonna look into all the cost on all this?
Yeah, we're gonna have to, because
See what-
right now we have a porta potty.
Playground, what else did we say?
Right, right. They just came through and cleaned all them today,
What's that?
the Biffs.
And then do you want to do,
It's
I
clean
wanna-
out the park.
did you say the soccer field you want to do there?
The
There is
carpet.
one there.
It's already there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody had an
So
accident.
then, did you say you want to
Ball
do
field?
the small
Small
field?
ball
Okay,
field.
because he was there this morning.
I mean, you could, but then you're, all of a sudden, you're
Usually they're
building
once
out
a
on the
week.
top half of it, so then you have to put the road through there.
Well, they can walk to it. If you just do the small ball fields for them when people are out there.
I think we
You can walk
should
to
add
it.
this
Yeah,
to
people
that.
can play, if they're renting a shelter, they
It's
can
all
play in the ball
road
field.
to the bottom third. Add that, because you're gonna need that.
What?
Install road, we can move that.
Do you remember what was the reason why they didn't want to put the road in right away?
So they want people in there.
That was my thought of why you put like a
They didn't
gravel
want the
road
through
in.
traffic, I don't think.
They didn't want the road in,
That's what it
but
was.
they wanted to put trees in there where the road was gonna go.
But it's,
Nobody knew where the
it got
road was.
graded for the road. The road got graded in, I
But
think.
that isn't the
Yeah.
true road though, from what I understand.
That's the true
They
road.
just got one that goes from end to end, but that's supposed to change.
I thought they cut the road in and just filled it and then put gravel and stuff. I mean,
Yep,
they put back in, so all we have to do is gravel it or whatever, but I thought they based it, put the base in and stuff for it.
that was the main concern, was getting that road.
Because they wanted to
completed,
plant
yes.
trees and they weren't sure where the road.
Yeah,
the
that
road
was the
Yes.
first thing we talked
Who
about
was it?
doing before was
Who's gonna put
putting the
it?
We
road
were
through
supposed to
there.
last
But
year, right?
if you tar that, I mean, you're gonna have people back there.
That's why we didn't put it in.
Yeah.
then.
You know,
That's why it's
messing
not
around
right.
all the time. That's why I was thinking
They do
gravel.
it now. I mean, they go back there now, with just the gravel back there, but
Have to go around the gate that's there all the time.
that's why the gate is put up there, to try and prevent some of it, but,
Okay, anything else anybody wants to add, or? I mean, that gives us as staff a lot to work on.
What have they done out there for like seeding for grass and everything like that? Has it been seeded at all?
That's
That's
all
all
seeded.
Has it been?
That's why last year I let it grow to seed it out a little bit, filled in a little more. Still kind of patchy here and there.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. I didn't know, so.
And if you go out there, we do have someone guarding it on both sides of the fence, so they're okay there.
what?
There's some heads sticking up.
There's some heads sticking over. They're man.
It was so funny.
Up at
Grows on one
property.
side.
Oh, it was so funny because we went out there one time and Sean was with us. It was Sean, Wayne and I in Wayne's truck, and all of a sudden Sean goes, "You guys, there's someone watching us right now." He starts laughing. I didn't know they were there either. And he goes, "Those are mannequin
Yeah,
heads."
it's just peeking over the west side.
It keeps kids from climbing up the
They know
fence.
what's going on out there.
Oh, they know. I'm sure there's a camera in that thing.
Okay, well, I honestly can't think of anything else. I think this is a really good start for us. I appreciate it. I appreciate the time.
It's a good thing that we're pretty much in agreement on everything.
Mhm. We'll come up with some creative ideas for saving and budgeting, and so we can get going on some of these things. Like this isn't going to
That's
cost
nothing.
us anything. This one, this isn't really going to be that much either, because we just have to have staff work on. We should maybe, I don't know how you want to do that. Do you want to have your park commission help with that, or not really, or it might be hard to come to a consensus if you have too many people. So maybe you and your guys can work on that? If we have too many people, we won't come to a consensus on this. So that's not going to cost us anything. This will.
On the evaluate the parks and whatnot, I know that the two guys have already put a list together. Matt
Oh, okay.
and Barry, they've done all the parks. They have their lists of what's needed, so.
Okay.
So that really is our guys' jobs, that's not part of the park commission's job. to
Oh, I
go
know,
out
but
and-
they still went out there and, because they weren't familiar
Because
with the
we'll
parks.
go back out, I was gonna say, because
Right.
Wayne will go back out, he's gonna have John go out now with the schedule, because we keep a schedule so that when the League of Minnesota Cities sends out their safety and loss crew every so many years, we can say to them every year, this is what we did, this is what we did, so they go through and they check all the bolts, they check all the equipment to make sure nothing's broke. So if that's what they're going out to do, they don't need to waste their time, because we'll go back through it anyway, but.
Right, yeah. No, they just went out there because they were just kind of getting more familiar with the parks and whatnot.
Well, if you talk to them, do you want to just have them supply that to us so I can get that to Wayne?
Yeah, if you just want to have even Jess put it on our agenda.
Okay.
Or I'll tell her whatever. Because I know Matt's got it in his little book.
Yep.
That he brings all the time, so.
Photocopy it or something.
Yep. No, this really helps us. I really appreciate you guys taking the time today. Do you think that as members of the park commission, they'll like what we've come up with?
Yeah, I think they're,
I think so.
I'm pretty sure they would agree on almost all of it.
Okay. And we'll sit down as staff and figure this out, because if we're gonna move skating rinks, we're gonna need something there anyways for Women's House.
So, could you give us a list of all the things we come up with?
Yep.
For short term and long term?
I have to type the minutes, so it'll be in the minutes, so yeah.
Okay, because that would be helpful when we have our park and rec meeting too.
When you say move the skating rinks, I know that they're very set on keeping the one at Carver.
Well, that's going
It's not going to,
that's going to this park back here,
it's gonna come to Lions Park.
because it tears the heck out of the field.
It's ruining the field.
Yes, I know that, but then it'll,
But there's,
honestly, you might as well not even put them up
but
then.
there's lights back there.
There's one street light.
There'll be enough light there.
There's a
They're
couple
gonna
lights in
use-
the park.
Okay, out at Northridge, they're gonna use floodlights. They're gonna hook them up. But I mean, there'll be light there. There's enough lights in the middle. We can move it down this way. We have all summer to get the grass back for Montrose days. And then the Boy Scout shed could possibly be a warming shed for them.
How are you putting it back there when we had 20 years of complaining of having a rink there before?
Who's gonna complain? Who
The
I'm
complains?
not really sure.
The difference is that if we want to, when it melts, we can pump it out right into the storm sewer. All we have to do is take the pump and pump the water out. Last time, when it used to go out there, it was the snow banks with the
Right.
ice in the middle, and it sat there until about July before it was gone. So we never had a chance for the grass to grow back.
Well, once we get
Now-
the other, we can
Yep,
plant.
now they'll pump it out, and if it's dead, they can replant a little bit, and it'll be back, they'll be growing already in June and July, so. But it's bringing by putting it out there, it's bringing all the clay to the top, and it's ruining the field.
The ball field plus the grass where it gets set up on.
Where they put it out in the
There's
grass, it's
sinkholes
sunk,
all
yeah,
over.
yeah, it's sinking it all over.
And I
So you're
get
not gonna
Ice
have one at
skating
Carver
rink
Field?
was out here.
Now we're gonna move it
What's
to
that?
behind, by the old
The
tower.
ice
What
skating
used to-
rink used to be there for years.
By the old tower. is what it
Yeah.
used to be.
Yeah,
And I
The
think,
reason why we put that was because it was killing the grass, I always understood.
I don't know.
anyway,
I mean, I wonder that they
it's
didn't
killing.
take care of it after they took the rink out, it was all mud. We were planting grass 2 weeks before Montrose days,
Yeah.
which should have been done right away in spring. And now we have trouble at the ball field because it's used right away and we can't plant grass and try to get everything fixed in before
There's
they
not a
start
like
ball.
parking lot somewhere where you can put it.
I do understand their commitment to want to have it at Carver Field. I get that. But I think we also have to rely on our staff that are experts in repairing those fields and what it's doing to them. So I think we have to look at both sides of it.
Some parents can park in the lot there. I mean, it's
Yeah, they can use the
parking
church
lots.
parking
Or
lot.
city
Parking lot
parking
across
lot.
from Jackie B's there. Jackie B's filled that up.
You got the wrong park.
What? You're in the wrong park.
You're in the wrong park.
You're in the wrong park.
Oh.
The one over here by the community
Oh,
center.
okay. Yeah.
I stood up by the
We use the church parking lot and
Yeah,
the
And
city
the
hall.
community
And the
station.
city hall.
Yeah, it'd be nice like at Carver Field if there was lights in that little parking lot
I
behind.
know, that's what I was thinking,
If
if
there was
there's
some
lights in
lights
that
there, you
parking
could put it
lot.
there because that's all just gravel and you could put a rink right there and be awesome, but there's no lights over there other
Didn't know it
than
was
street
Especially
light
if
here
you
and
put a
there.
new concession stand over there, you know, it'd be close to that too.
Well, the actual warming shelter for the ice rinks is in Lions Park. That's not a Boy Scout shelter, that's a city's warming house that the Boy Scouts kind of took over. So that's really our warming house. It's got a heater and everything in it.
That little shack there.
That they sell burgers out
Burger
of? Yep.
stand, burger stand. We
Yep.
used to walk from the school down there. And
It was actually the warming shelter is what it was put there for.
So you have a lot of infrastructure already in place at that location, so. Yeah,
And they could use the bathroom in the community center, right, if they had to go.
Oh, it's locked though. Doors are locked.
the wrong kind of floor, and they have to take
Yeah.
their skates
Yeah,
off before they even try to go in there.
In the,
There's plenty of-
Community center.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
If they had a cork floor, rubber floor, then they could, but with their skates on, no big deal.
But there's no bathroom at Carver Field either in the winter, so.
No.
Go to porta potties.
They freeze up in the winter.
I was gonna say, I don't know if we can put them out in the winter, can we? They would freeze, don't
They
they?
freeze.
I don't know what the chemicals in there that they keep it from freezing or
Yeah,
not.
they freeze.
Okay. Thought maybe it was like antifreeze, so it did freeze.
yeah, when I think of other cities that I've worked in with their warming house, I used to help, I was in charge of Park and Rec in Delano, and I used to help sit at the warming house, and there's no bathrooms in any of them. There's
Okay.
no bathroom facilities available, I mean,
Now you go to Arlington, they got a community center there. They got indoor and outdoor, it's cork floor, kids can go in, use the bathrooms, warming house / concessions. That's open all the time.
Is that
Skating
out
rinks
there
are-
by the fairgrounds?
Nope, it's right in the middle of town.
Right in the middle of it.
That's a senior citizens building, basically, is what it is. / skating rink, one of those.
Yeah.
Plus, it's rented out for graduations, whatever, so.
That's a nice community down there.
it's the people that come from there that you gotta wonder about.
Oh, is she referring to
I
you?
think
I
the camera's
wanna-
I didn't
going
say
there.
that.
Your camera went dead.
Dave Meyer, that was our public works director in Winsted, is from Arlington. He always called it the big city. When I first started working there, he'd talk about the big city, and I'd be like, big city? Yeah, Arlington, the big city.
All depends on your perspective.
Yep, exactly. Well, that's all we have. I don't know if you want to make a motion to.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I'll second it. All in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? We're done.
Thanks, guys. That'll help us.
I think your camera's dying on you.